Hey guys, just got off work and having a decent time in the garage, in the man cave. There's actually a little blue sky out there. Wow. And it's almost New Year. I'm just I think I'm wrong calling this place the man cave, because my whole house is the man cave. Gotta love it. I'm just over here working on my preps a little bit. This is my 1500 watt inverter roll around power supply, and this thing I bought it in around 2007, and the batteries lasted a good amount of time, but they were cheapies. This one here is just about dead. They're 16 amp or 17 amp hours. Replacing them with 18 amp hour batteries. Plus, I built that tray back in the condo, and I've got 4 more 18 amp hour batteries on there. I could fire up my Kirby vacuum cleaner and vacuum my entire condo, and then the thing would still be practically fully charged. That's one thing I do, is I save manuals for everything, and then you can get part numbers and things out of them. I scan them all, keep them in my phone. It's really handy. Information is just about as important as actual food and water and guns and shit. And as you can see, I got the little propane lantern going. That thing kicks out a surprising amount of heat. I don't have any formal heat in this garage. And then I got the Buddy heater going. These things are friggin' awesome, dudes. I keep one of these in my bathroom, and you can turn this puppy on, and it'll bring the bathroom up to temperature real quick. This house is kind of old and drafty, but basically something like this will really put the heat on. And it's got this grid here is so hot that it burns up the carbon monoxide. I think that burns at like 1800 degrees or something. Turns into carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide is a sign of incomplete combustion. Basically, you burn something halfway or too quickly, and the unburned, basically the oxygen doesn't have. It's like it's a result of just really crappy convection and poor design. But with this, it just produces carbon dioxide, and it has a little oxygen sensor in there that shuts this thing off before you die. I also have an extension hose that allows you to plug it into a conventional propane can, so I can run this thing full bore for days and days. I've never just run it, but I've worked in the garage for days, and like last winter, and man, this thing, it lasts a long time. Now, with the little propane canisters, the little 1 pound canisters like these, they only last at full bore maybe 3 or 4 hours. On low, it'll last maybe 15, 20 hours or something like that. You'd have to look in the manual, but if you're going to use one of these for preparedness, I highly recommend getting an extension hose and a big propane tank. And when you use an extension hose, you've got to buy a filter. You absolutely have to buy a filter, otherwise it will clog up your Buddy heater with just a little bit of dust. If it gets into the hose, it'll destroy your heater. Not good. So yeah, I lost one heater finding that out. But basically, awesome for preparedness. This thing, we could have a big power outage for like a week, and I would be fine. I'd be a little uncomfortable, but I could keep the heat on, and the pipes would not freeze if I had this thing going. I have a number of other preps, but these are like real easy to get, and probably after the new year, they'll probably be cheap. There might be sales and whatnot. I'd definitely look and pick one of these things up. Failing that, if you're short on cash, a little propane lantern, awesome. And they produce a lot of heat and a lot of light. It doesn't look like much right now because I got a lot of lights in here. So anyway, yeah, good times. I took my dad's battery charger apart and I blew out all the guts, and this thing is like from 1983 or something. Anyway, I'm painting it. I cut out these little reels to wrap the wires up. Replaced the handle because it was broken. Now I'm putting a little paint on it. Yeah, when you're a MGTOW, you've got time if you plan your days right. But the main reason for this video is it's because something disturbing that I heard from Aaron Clary is one of his most recent videos, where he was talking about MGTOW, obviously, and he was talking about how a lot of he says that a lot of TFLers are pretending to be MGTOW, but they're just too lazy to try and hit the gym and pick up chicks and shit like that. And I beg to differ. It's my opinion that a lot of these TFL guys are MGTOW. they may self-identify as TFL, but they are MGTOW, in my opinion. Now, I'm no authority on this, and don't get angry at me because you disagree. Simply disagree, and not a problem. I'll hear your point of view, definitely. But okay, imagine a guy's like 120 pounds overweight and doesn't have a great job or anything, and he is a virgin and all that, has never really dated, and then basically he just looks around, right, and he is at a point, like maybe 25 years old or something, where he's going to have to determine what his life is going to be like. And he could do the titanic task of peeling off 120 pounds and pushing his career like crazy, and in an effort to try to get a girlfriend and maybe a marriage partner and all that. And then he looks at all of his friends and what they have gone through. I mean, he looks at them and sees them get divorce after divorce and get kicked out of their houses and exiled from their families and nailed with crippling child support, and if there's an alimony deal and if he's in an alimony state, he might some of his friends might be paying alimony, and the guy might, he's probably TFL right now. He could probably barely get a girlfriend at all, and he then just weighs the pros and cons and measures the titanic job that it would require, or the titanic effort to peel off 120 pounds or get plastic surgery or something if he drew a bad gene pool thing and he has like uneven features or something like that, and basically he could, with titanic effort, possibly get to a point where he could date fairly easily But then he looks at all of his friends and he says, you know, I think I'm just going to hang out and play video games and move my career on at my pace and live my life for me. And sure as shit, a lot of guys might look at this guy and say, he's a TFL, you know. But, man, I'm of the opinion that a lot of these guys, they are MGTOW, even if they self-identify as TFL, or because they've made a choice, they've weighed the pros and cons, they've done the math, and they have just said no. So in my opinion, just because a guy is like has a crappy career and is like really overweight, or has some kind of problem with his face or something, and I mean, just because of all that, I'm of the opinion that they can be MGTOW too. And Aaron was saying that they're not really MGTOW, and they're just pretending to be MGTOW to make themselves feel better, or as some kind of coping strategy or something. But man, I'm of the opinion that these guys are MGTOW, and if there's any TFLers out there who want to be MGTOW, or who are, I mean, if you're thinking that along that lines, chances are you already are MGTOW. Although some people would say you couldn't get a girlfriend anyway, so it's no big loss or something. But man, I'm sure that if you put enough effort into it, you could almost certainly get a girlfriend and all that. But and the wife, and then the kids, and then the divorce, and then false accusations of horrendous, unspeakable crimes, and you could do that whole frickin' trail of tears if you want. It would take a lot of effort, but you could probably do it. But why? You know, why? So, in my opinion, if somebody is afraid to say they're MGTOW because somebody might tell you that you are unable to date anyway, so you can't be a MGTOW, fuck that. You know, I gotta say that, you know, you are probably MGTOW, and the only thing that could really stop you from being a MGTOW is if you got married. And then, even if you were in the philosophy, you know, like the straight shooter, for example, you could even be one of us in every possible way except the technical descriptor of MGTOW. And I'm almost thinking that we ought to think up a good additional name for married guys who are MGTOW. It's kind of sad that it's so divisive, that the married guys are trying. Some guys are saying I'm MGTOW, but they're married, and man, they can't be MGTOW. We need a new name for these guys. But back to my original point. It's my opinion that just because a guy is TFL, there's no reason he can't be MGTOW. In my opinion. So yeah, that's about it. I think I'll put a coat of paint on this battery charger, and then it will be done. Yeah, good times. Later.